again.
Hi everyone.
There's Jazz. And it's Michael John here. We're glad that you're here with us. We're here presenting y'all with another episode of Walk Your Talk.
Yeah, it's been just over 10 days or so, maybe a little more, since we had our last Walk Your Talk, and that was some balmy weather. We still had beautiful leaves on the trees, and here we are with a whole different environment. We just got our first big snowstorm up here in the Rocky Mountains, and hopefully you enjoy the environment that we're walking in.
We're all bundled up.
Yeah,
But it sure is beautiful.
and it's been a big week, I think, for us as parents. We can speak to that with the upsetness and, results happening not in a way that we all want it with the election. Some of you, the election went the way you wanted it. And
Congratulations to y'all.
And some of us, many of us, the election did not go the way we wanted it. And I wanted to speak to how that happens when, for our young people who experience that, that didn't go the way I wanted on a fairly consistent basis when it comes to taking tests, and how that really wrecks their confidence, and what we can do about it as parents who support young people who have test taking challenges, to the severe would be test anxiety, and talk about it through the context of confidence. We're walking our little pups here, so Mike has them kind of wrapping around us as we walk. Maybe you can see them. There's our little Arctic fox, and there's our bear, Sunny and Willie. All right. So as we're walking today, thanks so much for joining in. And I just want to encourage y'all to practice this yourself. If the results didn't happen the way you wanted, to practice having some space and time to acknowledge that loss of traction, a loss of what you wanted to have happen, that drop in your hope. And I think it's important to give yourself space for that, and not disassociate from it or try to make it not important to you. The same thing happens for our young people when they prepare and they think they have prepared how they need to go into a test. And then maybe during the test, just like what happened with the election, you're sitting there watching, and you canvassed and participated and prepared, watched the polls, all that stuff, and you were feeling hopeful, and you also were feeling like, this is going to turn out the way I want it to. So many of our young people who go into being prepared for tests or think they're prepared, they take the test and it doesn't go the way they want it to go. They're taking it and all of a sudden they're feeling like they're not sure. They might second guess themselves.
Or they might walk out of the test feeling very confident.
Yeah, they might be confident for sure. And then they get the results and it's not what they expected.
All right. So you need to have some level of accuracy when we're confident.
Yeah. So self-assessing, some accuracy around how do I know what I need to know to show what I need to know. It's solving that riddle. But when it comes to having that experience on a consistent basis, like many of our young people do, and the students that we serve here at Just Two, it's, again, really important to stop and have a moment, right? Take an evening to just acknowledge, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. I didn't do well. Talk about it, talk it through, and assess, how can I do this differently, right? And here at Just Two, that's what we call the metacognitive process of thinking through, okay, how did I get here? Woo, it's slippy out here today. How did I get here?
And how did I get here? Meaning, like, how did I get to this level of confidence? And confidence, it could be low confidence, it could be super high confidence. But is there any evidence to support how I might be feeling?
Correct.
In regard to my
Yeah.
confidence?
And we provide support to study with study techniques that help with working memory, with recall, with relating to the material, with memorization, but also self-assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a false confidence or something that I can rely on?
And this goes all the way back to our very first walk we talked,
Yeah.
which has to do with reflection, and that takes time. It takes discipline to take a look at the data, to see how you performed last, to make an appointment with your teacher, your professor, your TA. Say, can we go over that last test that I took? Because I want to make sure that my confidence is on point.
Yeah, and understanding the format and the scope of the test that you're about to take. It's not just about memorizing the terms. There's so much more that can be involved to support an accuracy in one's confidence.
We got to show everybody this. We have a snow
Wow.
cloud trapped in the valley.
Check this out.
It's
Wow.
It got left all on its own there.
That is incredible. Look at that. Okay. We'll show it to you when we get around there as well. Oops. So, all right. So accuracy of confidence. And, I was coaching a high school student, a young lady, who in their accountability time with me, answered the question after we get through some inventory and organizing a mind of materials. I usually, I keep slipping. I usually ask the question.
Hold on to me.
Yeah, I usually ask the question like, hey, what's important to you right now?
Yeah.
And, after we talk about surprises that maybe came up or things we need to prioritize, what's important? And she said, it's about being confident. And she talked about how it can get pretty severe for her when her confidence is thrown off, where she might have panic attack, or she described feeling really hot and like her heart flutters and such. And so we've started to unpack that and understand, just and identify the what throws her off. And she said second guessing, on a test. There's no way that the teacher would have put all true answers, right? All true. The answers can't be that, right? And, so she kind of leaves her intuition aside, and that wrecks her confidence. Or she's taking a test and, she starts to realize that she doesn't actually know all the material, right? And she can't access it. So we're starting to identify what brings down our confidence, and then building up to, what if you could be a confident person no matter what? Like no matter what consequences is there, circumstance is there or happening around you or inside you, right? Internal or external.
I'd like to challenge that just a little bit, and this is say that I think that it requires, in order to be a truly confident person, you can put off a confident, persona.
Sure.
And you might
like
move through the world in such a way that if I'm confident in about everything about myself all the time.
Oh yes.
But I think really confident people have to go through a period of time where they've got to humble themselves. They've got to come down. And as I said before, check the data.
Okay.
And put yourself in a place of vulnerability.
Sure.
To say, in the case of our students, to say to a teacher, as you may have heard us say this before, is, my objective this semester is to improve my test performance. Right? That's not necessarily something a person who's already confident would say, but I believe that that's the path to confidence.
Yeah. That's when, I was working with the student to identify what helps her be confident and what, wrecks her confidence, right? And yeah, I can appreciate that. And that's a very solid tip there that you're giving, Mike, about talking to your teacher about, here's my goal here. What's your suggestion on how I can go from here to there, right? We're tripping over our dogs. Have you seen the Arctic fox? There he is.
There he is again.
Right there.
Hey, Willie.
Willie. And there's our little bear.
I think they're cold.
Little bear
They'll
Sunny.
get back.
They're starting to take us back. Okay. So I appreciating that, Mike. And then the coaching really came through as around being the commander of your confidence is more about having some foresight, right? About, okay, well, if I'm here and I want to be there, that's my goal. Whether it be, a test that turns out the way I want it, or, preparing, in a way that has me feeling confident and the accurate confidence. But it really comes down to this from my perspective around the self-knowledge work, the self-knowing stuff that we do, is circumstances happen, right? They just happen, right? And they're out of our control, really. And being wiser, I guess, or helping ourselves keep the stand that we want to be in, our goals that we're seeking, and continue to be on that path, is that knowing that we can't control the circumstances, but we can control how we respond to them, right? And that's what's I think really important for our young people, as well as I'll bring it back to what we were saying earlier in the walk your talk here, is that we can't control how other people decide to vote or
what's going to be on the test.
We can't
Right.
control that, right? We can make a sincere effort, and we can support ourselves not to be thrown and make our evening or the next day or the week, depressing, or anxiety ridden, or just throw us off so that our next priority, doesn't get attention.
Right. So we have to build toward what's next.
Yeah, build towards what's next.
And that's a great thing for this time of the year,
Yeah.
this time of the semester.
And being a commander of our confidence, we've got to practice that foresight. And so something that we're doing right now in our sessions with students is something we call forecasting. And Mike's going to talk to you a little bit about that.
All right, so let's talk a little about academic forecasting. That's probably maybe not a term you've heard before, but I think you could probably imply what we're talking about here, and that is to take a look, and you just mentioned reflection as an important part of this work, but also projection is an important part of this work. And for us to, at this point in the semester, be able to ask really meaningful questions to our professors and review our syllabi so that we know what's ahead. Mm-hmm. To have a good idea of what's ahead. So you can take a mathematical point of view and say, I've earned this many points so far. This is how many points are going to be available ultimately for the course. What's still possible for me now? This is the most powerful way for you to set an intention and to make those grades that you set out to make.
Great. And as parents, supporting, your student to have a look ahead, right? You might get hit with, I don't have any time. I have so much to do right now, right? Something we talked about early on in our Walker Talks at the beginning of the season was to schedule in a check-in weekly or more often, if that's helpful. Because the check-ins help us slow down, look ahead, plan, prioritize, and calm the overwhelm. So the same thing comes here. If you could employ what we talked about as well, called get to those more open-ended questions with your, to create some open-mindedness and flexible of mind, acknowledge really what's going on as they say it. Don't try to change anything for them. Meet them in their zone and acknowledge, yeah, it's a busy time right now. We've got a couple of weeks before the Thanksgiving break. I know you got a lot going on and a lot on your plate, and it's important for us to look a little bit further ahead and start to plan for those finals, those projects that need more of a pacing format of time management. How much effort is it going to take? So when you can acknowledge and reflect, that gives you a connection with your student, your young person, to be able to summarize and make a plan, find solution, right?
And also, we want to give you one more tip too, and that is that our kids, the students that we know, they tend to give up sometimes before it's time to give up. And what I mean by that is that sometimes we get to about this point in the semester, and the student may feel like, I'll just have to do better next time, right? I'll just do better next semester. And without engaging in what we're referring to as academic forecasting, you might give in too soon. You might give up too soon. You might hit the reset button way before it's time. So we want to support our students as parents and as coaches to take in all of the data, to ask the right questions, to put those questions on an index card so that the student can take them to a meeting with their teacher, their prof, their TA.
Or their advisor.
Right? Because we get flustered sometimes.
Yeah.
So even if the follow through is there, okay, I'm going to meet with my teacher. You get there, and the environment maybe isn't the way they thought it was going to be. Maybe it's a little more chaotic. Maybe it's less chaotic. Maybe
It's just them.
It's just them. Oh my God. Right? And your mind goes blank. Maybe just like on a test.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to ask.
Yeah. When we're preparing like that, we command our confidence, right?
Yeah.
We say, hey, I'm confident because I know the questions I want to ask, or I'm prepared in a way that I feel calm. So back to that concept of no matter what the circumstance, we can command ourselves to be in a place where we can advocate for ourselves, right?
Yeah. So let's take care of ourselves in this time of the season, this change of season. Let's take care of our health, our well-being. Let's take care of each other.
Yeah.
And let's be confident in our upcoming performance, in the new performance of our own young people. Mm-hmm. And we do that in a number of ways. But let's consider how academic forecasting can help build your confidence and make sure your confidence is on point.
Yeah. So we're here to help. We do have some space as we're moving through mid-semester with our coaches. So please reach out, schedule your clarity call if you're someone who's interested. And if you're our current students, know that this is what we're going to be working on as we move into the end of the semester. This is where we're heading. And for everyone, please do take care of yourselves as we grieve and, move through the loss of what we thought was going to be. And know that you have support to have better connection, parents, with your young people.
Yeah, well, thanks for stopping by and seeing us here at Walk Your Talk, and we'll see you next time.
Yes.